Next month on Saturday, March 24, there's going to be the New South State Election. In Australia, it's compulsory to vote, so I'm going to be voting in that. But I will, even if it wasn't compulsory, I'd vote because I like to have my say in politics and stuff. The current state government is the Australian Labor Party. Yeah, Labor Party anyway. And that's, the head is Morris Yema. The opposition is the Liberals, Peter Debnam. But it's not just between those two parties. They're the two major parties, but you don't have to vote for them. You can vote for some other party because we've got preferential voting. Yay us! Our voting is one of the fairest, in the world. So our voting system is one of the fairest in the world. Even though you have to vote, they don't look at what you've written down. So if you really don't want to vote, you just got to turn up, take the form, and then just fold it, put it away. Done. You didn't make your say, but anyway, I don't like either of the major parties. I think they both suck. But I think Labor is just a little bit better than the Liberals. So after my first vote, which is not going to be, Labor or Liberals, I'll probably choose something like Democrats or, I don't know, an independent. Independents are pretty cool. I'm definitely not going to vote for the Christian Democratic Party. I was reading a media release on the Christian Democratic Party. Here, I'll read it out to you. One of their Thursday, 15th February 2007. Fred Nile overjoyed at crackdown on King's Cross pawn shops. The Reverend Fred Nile, MLC, leader of the Christian Democratic Party, has warmly congratulated the King's Cross Police Commander Jenny Hayes for the successful raids on King's Cross pawn shops. And then it's got the quote, "It is a disgrace that these pawn shop owners have deliberately flouted the law against the selling of child pornography and obscene, perverted, X-rated and non-rated material," end quote, said the Reverend Fred Nile, MLC. The Reverend Fred Nile has successfully campaigned for the introduction of child pornography laws in New South Wales and the prohibition against the sale of X-rated, obscene, perverted material in New South Wales. And then he's got, in quotes again, "I have always campaigned to clean up King's Cross as someone who was born in King's Cross and whose father was a King's Cross taxi driver," end quote, says Reverend Fred Nile, MLC. Well, sure, I'm all for the anti-child pornography laws. That's a good thing. I don't want to see children exploited. That's not very nice. But they don't allow the sale of X-rated material. I mean, in Australia, X-rated material, they're not allowed to have any violence at all associated with it in any way. Not even if it's completely unrelated to the act of sex, they're not allowed to have any sort of violence. And it's just pure sex. And they're not allowed to sell that in New South Wales. They're allowed to sell it in Canberra and the Northern Territory, though. I think it's sad that the New South Wales. I want to vote for someone who will say, yes, I'd like to vote for someone who would support allowing selling X-rated material in New South Wales. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't know where I go to get more information apart from the internet on different people I can vote for. I don't know who the candidates are. I think they haven't announced them yet. And I don't know where they will announce them though, so I'm kind of confused about that. I'll have to do more research because I like to make sure I'm informed. I want to be an informed voter because I like to know. I like to know, the policies of the people I'm voting for. I see a name, I want to go, who's that? When the preferences, I'll most probably be putting the Christian Democratic Party last. A party based on Christian values. Yeah, no, I don't want that. I'm a secularist, and I don't like the idea of the Christian Democratic Party. I don't like that they've got, some power. Like, oh, what's it say on the thing? Please re-elect Fred Nile for the upper house or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'm not very happy with that. They'll probably be last unless I can find someone I don't like even more than the Christian Democratic Party. Maybe if they have, like, I don't know, but someone even worse than that, then if I find that, then I'll go, yeah, alright, you can be like second last. Like, on their front page, www.cdp.org.au, it says they've got, with 6 weeks to the New South Wales State Election on 24 March 2007, Fred is asking for your practical and prayerful help. The situation is very serious. It is mathematically impossible for either Labor or Liberal to have a majority in the upper house after 24 March. And Labor and Liberal are the two major parties in Australia. It will either be the Greens or the Christian Democratic Party that will have the balance of power. Oh, well, I've heard from papers and stuff that maybe there could be independents having balance of power, and they don't seem to be very happy about that. I don't know why. I think that would be pretty cool, having a bunch of independents in power. But anyway, if it's between the Greens or the Christian Democratic Party, I hope it's the Greens. I think they have a good chance too with all this global warming stuff talk and everything. The Greens have probably got a good chance. They got a better chance than the Christian Democratic Party anyway. Yeah. Don't vote for the Christian Democrats if you're Australian, unless you want to. But I don't know. I hope that they don't get in, because that would not. I wouldn't like that. But anyway, that's the way things are. Australia has a pretty high voter turnout because it's compulsory. It's usually above 90%. Like, for example, the 2004 federal election voter turnout was, I think they said it was 94%. That's one of the benefits of having compulsory voting. High voter turnout. What else can I say? I like the Democrats, the Australian Democrats. They're pretty cool. But there might be some independents I prefer, or some other smaller party I haven't seen yet that I'd prefer. I'm not going to. I don't want the Liberals to win. I hope they don't win. I think Peter Debenham's a bit harsh, especially when it comes to like the criminal sort of things. He's like, yeah, he just comes across as like really harsh guy. He's like an ex-Navy guy, like commander or something. I forgot, but he's like an ex-Navy guy, and yeah, he's tall and he's slightly. I mean, when it comes to politicians, they're pretty much all ugly. But he's slightly better looking than Morris Yema. But I don't like his policies, so I'm not going to vote for him. I'm going to vote for. Well, once I find the information, I'm going to vote for her. I think it is right. But I'm just glad that in Australia, we don't have to choose one or the other and have a wasted vote. We can have preferential voting, so I can vote for a smaller party or an independent or someone who I want to win, and then for one of the more major parties who are more likely to win as my next sort of preference. Like the ALP. They'll probably get in again. Their leader debate, apparently, Peter Debenham was acting more like an opposition leader and always on the defence, which, not good for him, but I don't know. Anyway, this is enough of my rambling about how I don't like the Christian Democratic Party, and the most out of all the ones I know so far. There might be someone worse. I mean, yeah. Anyway, that's enough for now.